Hi everybody, I'm presenting today on ARTI, a large language model AI solution for report writing at Artefact Heritage. So I just wanted to give you a bit of business context first. Artefact Heritage is an archaeological and heritage consultancy. So we do archaeological excavations, heritage assessments, recording of historic fabric, and a whole lot of other things related to heritage. We're 50 team members over 3 offices in New South Wales, and a large portion of our revenue, around 75%, comes from technical report writing. And this report writing is to support environmental assessments, impact permits, and other regulatory requirements for planning in regard to heritage. We've been operating for about 14 years, so we have a very large database of previous reports and assessments with a lot of background knowledge that can be relevant to current projects. We have around 10 primary report types which are required under the legislation, so it's fairly standardised, and what's in a report is guided by regulation. And report writing involves many highly repetitive tasks and data analysis and research, and a lot of this is done by junior staff, heritage consultants or graduates. So what is AI in the context of what we want to do? AI is an umbrella term which includes machine learning and generative AI. So machine learning is the science of getting machines to learn and act in a human-like manner. And generative AI is based on large language models, which are intelligent in the fact that they can predict what's needed and have a chain of thought to solve a problem. So a lot of the LLMs that you may have heard about are OpenAI's ChatGPT models, Bard, Grok, Llama, and others. So the concept of ARTI, the report writing model, is based on generative AI, and it's made possible by it. So the foundational model for ARTI is ChatGPT-4. We also need a database, which Artefact has, and report templates, which we had. So they're the ingredients that are required to use AI for this specific use case. So what's the concept for ARTI? ARTI is a technical report generator. So technical reports have certain sections that are required to meet the requirements. So certain sections that need to include, for example, environmental context, the nature of the heritage item that you're looking at. So ARTI will have prompts, standardised prompts, or a selection of standardised prompts for each report section to enable standardisation and matching with the regulatory requirements. Within each section and prompts, there will also be the ability to have iterative text generation for the report sections. So those sections can be regenerated based on additional prompts, and also free text review functionality for those sections. So a similar use case, I haven't been able to find anything exactly to match a technical report generator, either in our industry or in other industries. Something that's similar but much more broad-based is KPMG's KimChat, which has only been released in the last few months. So this is more an agent but broad-based solution that assists with emails, documents and presentations, and it has OpenAI as its foundational model. Things that are similar is that the framework is an assistant to humans and doesn't complete the whole task, and this is the assumption for ARTI as well. And it's also applied to a specific subset of data, so it has a higher confidence in the output of the model. So it's not using information from the whole of the World Wide Web in order to come up with an answer. It's actually looking at a distinct data subset that's relevant to the company and the information that's required through curated data files. So this example has already had advantages in efficiency in the company, even though it's only just been released. But it's not the same in that it doesn't prepare complex technical reports. So at Artefact, there's an efficiency issue in report preparation. So it's resulting in about 100K over budget work each month. We've been looking at management issues for several years to try and solve this problem, but it's not really budging. So my view is ARTI is a solution. It helps with efficiency and data analysis. Research time is drastically cut, It is an iterative process, so it doesn't lock us into a completely AI-generated solution, which clients might not like or may be inaccurate. And it has a built-in template for standardisation, which is really important in our industry. So if the fundamental issue is efficiency in research and being able to find the information that's required, analyse it and summarise it quickly within the budget that the market gives us, then ARDI as a solution should really cut down the time required. So some considerations around ethics have been raised in initial discussions with the team. So intellectual property, although this isn't such an issue with ARTI because we're using internal database of our own documents that we hold IP over, although there could be a situation where there's accidental use of confidential data. Confidential data is generally stored in specific folders in our file management system, so it's unlikely this would happen because ARTI can be directed not to use those folders, but it is potentially an ethical issue. Client expectations and whether we disclose that some of the reporting has been done by AI, and this is something that would have to be worked through depending on the appetite of the client and the market. And in discussions with the team, ethics issues have really been around the wider ethics of AI, and they're concerned that in our support of AI, we may be supporting something that's deleterious to society and to them and their jobs in particular. So there's a bit of angst in the team around whether it's actually ethical to use AI at all. And so that's an education piece that needs to be done through consultation with the team. So the team makeup to create ARTI. We have an external developer. It has to be a bespoke model because it's responding to very specific conditions that the company needs. So we have an external AI developer with an internal team of 3 working on the project, and there's an AI engineer and data analysts in that external team. We have an in-house project manager who's responsible for progress, milestones and budget, and also is discussing this with the team. We have a technical expert in-house. We have several actually, but there's one main technical expert who's overseeing the technical input and talking to the AI engineer about what's required in each section and why and how they connect. And this is in our case, this is a really critical team member. We have an AI working group in-house, so we regularly meet to discuss the challenges of this use case and starting to work through the prototyping, as well as also looking at other AI implementation in the business. But at the moment, ARTI is what we're most invested in. We have an ICT in-house who's assisting the external AI engineer with practical things like file access and file management. And also our legal advisor who we're discussing some of those ethical issues with, such as disclosure to our clients around AI being used in reporting. So the challenges as we've seen them so far is data access and cleanliness. So although we have a fairly well organised, very large database, there is still some issues with file names not being consistent. Over 14 years of information and reporting, the file names are not consistent. So we've had to look at solutions through the AI model to be able to find relevant files and to be able to understand what each report is about. Staff engagement. In the testing phase of some of the very early prototypes, we had very low staff engagement. They weren't interested in the technology. So we're starting to run information sessions and try and talk about the technology with the team. So hopefully staff engagement will improve. And client expectations and reputation. So this isn't something that's come up yet because we haven't released a model and we aren't using it for commercial output. But when that happens, we will need to have some discussion about how we message that to the clients. But the opportunities are really there if the model is successful and the staff are engaged. So there's a definite potential for increase in efficiency. So a lot of things that would take hours or a day could potentially be done in minutes with the large language model. So research of hundreds of relevant reports looking at a specific issue in a study area. So perhaps what soil landscape are we looking at for our archaeological assessment? Instead of trawling through lots of information and previous reports in the local area, ARTI will be able to gather that information and summarise it very quickly. And then it can be reviewed, but we're still looking at an increase in efficiency. So hopefully that will then lead excuse me, to a reduction in over budget work, which is really the greatest opportunity, and an increased profit margin. We're also hoping that quality will be an opportunity as well. So although our team are technical and have technical ability in writing, and we make sure that they're trained up for that, there is still some issues, especially with graduates, in quality and standardisation of work, which has to be redone by senior team members. If ARDI is used and it uses good examples, we're hoping that this standardisation of work can be improved. So tech review from the experts in our team will be reduced as well, which will further increase efficiency and reduce the over budget work. So we're really hoping that there'll be a positive feedback circle here for efficiency, and as the model learns and is corrected through that iterative process of review, that the output will get better and better. So success will be measured in an increase in efficiency of report preparation. So we're looking at how long does it take to prepare a standardised report, and we'll be able to measure that very easily through input into timesheets. And then that will then flow into reduction of over budget hours billed for reporting. So those are two things that are very easy to measure for reports that are using, and if reporting is using AI, we'll be able to measure reporting that isn't using AI as well, and have two control groups, or have two groups that we can compare, sorry. So team engagement and uptake, we're thinking about whether we'll make it compulsory to use ARDI or whether it will be a by choice, and then something that people will gradually uptake as they see the advantages. So that's a discussion we're having internally. Also, product quality and required technical expert review, as I mentioned, that's something easy to measure as well. And return on investment. So ARTI so far is looking at about $60,000 to $70,000 to make. It potentially will go over that depending on how much work it needs in the back end. But even if it's about $100,000, the return on investment, if the efficiency increases and over budget work decreases, will happen very quickly. So even though there is an outlay, that ROI will be easy to measure with a reduction in over budget work if it's consistent. Okay, thanks very much.